the very first thing we're talking about is, have I been pwned? And this is one of those hacker leet speak things that if you grew up like me, you totally understand the language. And if you didn't, it sounds silly, like scared spider and media bricks and other weird things we use to talk about breaches. But have I been pwned is effectively one of your gateways into the dark web in a very small slice. Have I Been Pwned is a publicly searchable database of email addresses that have been previously compromised. Please give me a 3 in chat if you already knew about this. This is effectively a place you can search to see if your email address has been compromised, right? And what it is a list of all of the massive data breaches that have happened with email addresses across the world. Now, what's important to note about this is if you were to use your own email address to set up something like Dropbox or Salesforce or even a corporate LinkedIn, and they were compromised, your email address would show up on this list, your work email address, whichever one you used to sign up for it. That does not mean your corporate network was compromised. It means somebody gave that data away in a breach. Now, this is really important to know because I know there's already somebody on this call who's going to the site and checking their email, and I'm going to do it live here in a second. So stick with me on that. I'm going to use my own. But what you should know is this is basically one of those tools the good guys use that the bad guys can use to determine email addresses and breaches and stuff like that. But it's a great way to be introduced to compromises. The only caveat that's really important here is the dark web is an archive of lots of things. Most of them are not scrupulous. And if somebody asks me, Steve, how do I tell if my information's out on the dark web? And some of you have heard this before. Your information's on the dark web, for sure. And it's for sale for about $30, for sure, in lots of different groups, right? Whether or not you find it on this site, it's out there for other reasons. And it's important to note that for mostly sales and fear-mongering tactics, and I don't really like those approaches, right? I'm security, right? Security occasionally has to be truthful and say, it's scary out there, and you just got breached. Now you need to spend money to not get breached again. Those things are true. But what I don't like is when somebody provides a dark web report with zero context to a client and goes, look, all your stuff's out there. How do you know you're safe? Listen, everybody, that's like asking if there's oil in your car, right? Your stuff's out there. It is out there. And there's frequently nothing corporate IT or corporate security can do anything. Heidi, me too, but stick with me on this. There's typically nothing you can do about having your stuff on the dark web, and it's out there for everything. Remember, just like there's only two kinds of concrete that has cracked and concrete that will crack, there's two kinds of data that's on the dark web and data that's definitely also on the dark web, right? Your stuff's out there. So if anybody comes to you and says, oh my gosh, look at all this data we found on the dark web, they're being disingenuous. That's a scare tactic. And I'm not trying to scare you here. I want you to know that this exists and how to look it up, but I want you to know that it doesn't necessarily mean your corporate network's attacked. We get this commonly where someone will come into one of our clients and say, Steve, you're breached. Look at all these things. And they come back to us and they go, what's going on here? And we go, it's everywhere. Everybody's stuff's on the dark web, right? That's why I asked if your credit card number was compromised in the beginning of this, if you know somebody, because it happens. Some examples is of recent breaches. This is fun. You guys are going to really like this. So Synthient is a data broker. They were just recently breached for 1.96 billion accounts, and it was put on Have I Been Pwned, right? Look, I'm sure there's more than 1.96 billion unique email addresses in the world, but that's a lot of them. That's a lot of them, and it's scary, right? Another good example, much smaller, Wired. Give me a 4 if you know what Wired is. If you guys have heard of Wired, the magazine. Thanks, Nate. That's cheating, though. Appreciate that. So Wired was breached, right? Now, listen, I don't expect many people here have given like their social security number, billing address, and mother's maiden name to Wired, but still, this is a data broker, right? Give me a 5 if you were caught in the Target breach, by the way. Target was on here as well, if I was to search for it. I was. caught in the Target breach because I have shopped at Target before. Cool, we got a couple. Thank you. Appreciate that. Um, uh, Give me a 6 if you know who Allianz is. Yeah. Yeah. That's an insurance broker. That's scary, right? Those are the people that really should know how to keep you safe. And I've gone over it, but the dark web, I get more questions about the dark web than anything else except phishing. And the truth is, just like the internet, the dark web is an archive, right? So give me a 7 in chat if you are anywhere near California and you knew about the UC Davis picture of the officer pepper spraying seated protesters that they tried to remove off the internet. Thank you, Barbara. Appreciate that. So just to kind of give everybody a little bit of a heads up on that, there was effectively a sit-in protest at one of the universities in California, and one of the officers was photographed multiple times just casually hosing down seated protesters with bear mace. And UC Davis spent lots of time and lots of money to try to get that off the internet. But by the amount of people that have heard of it, you can tell they failed. That's because the internet and the dark web is an archive. It is, by its nature, that's where stuff is. So when I do the demo I'm about to do, you just got to know that effectively this stuff is out there kind of forever. So let's see if I can do this thing. Okay, so here's how we do this thing. I'm going to search myself, by the way, in case you wanted to know the etymology. Pwned, P-W-N-E-D right here. It's just hacker speak for owned. Have I been taken, effectively, is what that is. So if I do me, hopefully it's the same. Okay, good. This is what I tested yesterday. So whew, that's good. So there is a data breach with my address. Right? And I want you to know, I don't know who Demand Science is. I'm sure I could Google it, but I don't know. And from what I can tell here by the details of this, there was quite a bit of compromised data out there from with this address, with my work addresses is out there. And look, the reason I'm telling you this is not to scare you. It is probably to get you to go check it out because it is free, right? You go have a look at how I've been pwned. Search your friends, search your family, search your personal stuff. I'm definitely not going to search my personal stuff on a recorded thing, but you understand where I'm going with this, and you can see what's going out there. And there's a little blurb on this, link to their LinkedIn profile. Everybody, give me a 9 in chat if you've ever had a conversation with someone around security in some way, usually personal, and they go, God, how'd they get my phone number? Right? Like this. Your numbers are out there, everybody. Your address is out there. Your phone numbers are out there. Your genealogy is probably out there. So mother's maiden name's out there. I bet. Give me a 10 if you know, and it doesn't have to be you. Know someone who's had their social security compromised, social security number compromised. Doesn't it surprise you that like the thing we use to do identity in America literally right now is a number that you're assigned at birth, and the challenge of like changing that if something weird happens? Yeah. So when somebody asks me how they get my information, how do they know where I work, there's like 900 different ways to figure out where you worked. And by the way, Christopher's got a really good point on this. He just mentioned this in chat. The Social Security Administration specifically said, do not use social security numbers for validation, and then everyone ignored them. That's a true statement. That thing did happen. He's right. The reason I'm mentioning this, everybody, is, and I've had to tell several people in my life, and if you are part of the fundamentals training, you'll know pretty much who I'm talking about. The fact that somebody knows your phone number and name is not a good enough reason to tell them things. Somebody calls me and says, hey, your name's Steve, you live at this place, you work for Endsight. I go, that's okay. Why are you scamming me, right? Nobody starts a phone call like that, but it's a very common scam tactic. So the point of this is to say, your information is out there. It's super easily searchable on this database right here. And it's something that people in your life need to understand, that the bad guys have it, and they're really, really good at social engineering. They're really, really charismatic. And they will just simply say, hey, I know who you are. I'm definitely your bank. And they're, not your bank or whomever. Cool. All right. So that's the Have I Been Pwned demo.